Okay, we're going to play a game. And it might seem simple on the surface, but I promise you it's going to reveal something really surprising about how we think, and maybe more importantly, how we think other people are thinking.
So here's the deal, and I want you to actually play along here. Pick a whole number, anything from 0 to 100. The winner is the person whose guess is closest to 2/3 of the average of everyone's guess. Go ahead, take a second. What's your gut tell you? Lock in a number.
Just to make sure we're all on the same page, let's run through a quick example. Let's say we collected everybody's numbers and the average came out to be 60. Well, 2/3 of 60 is 40. So whoever guessed 40, or the number closest to it, is our winner. Simple enough, right?
All right, you got your number? Good. Now, let's dive into what pure, cold logic has to say about this game. This is where we start peeling back the layers on this thing, and it gets really cool.
So let's just think this through logically. Step 1. Even if every single person guessed the highest possible number, 100, the average would be 100. 2/3 of that is about 67. So it makes absolutely no sense to guess higher than 67, right? But wait, if every rational person knows that, then nobody's going to guess above 67. So the new highest possible average is 67, and 2/3 of that is about 44. See where this is going? The logical ceiling just keeps getting lower and lower.
And if you follow that chain of reasoning all the way down, assuming every single player is perfectly rational, and they know that everyone else is also perfectly rational, you are left with one single inevitable answer: 0.
In game theory, this has a formal name. It's called a Nash Equilibrium. It's basically a state of perfect balance. If everyone agrees to guess 0, the average is 0, and 2/3 of 0 is, well, 0. You literally can't do any better by changing your guess. Logically speaking, it's the perfect answer.
Okay, but here's the big question, right? We have our perfectly logical, airtight answer. But what happens when this little game escapes the textbook and meets a crowd of actual, messy, real-life human beings? Well, this is where it gets really, really interesting.
I mean, the logic is so clean, isn't it? It's elegant, it seems completely solid. But do people actually follow it? In the real world, is the winning number ever actually 0?
Let's just look at the data. On one side, you've got 100, a totally random guess. On the complete opposite side, you have 0, the perfectly logical guess. But look at that third bar. In real contests with real people, the winning number consistently lands somewhere between 14 and 22. It's not even close to 0.
And this isn't a fluke. When a Danish newspaper ran this game with over 19,000 of its readers, the average guess was 22. That made the winning number 14. In our own poll with our community, the average was a little higher at 31.3, which means a guess of 21 would have won. So, the point is, people are not perfectly logical. They're something else.
So how in the world do we explain this huge gap between the perfect answer and the one that actually wins? Well, economists and game theorists have a really powerful model that helps us understand exactly what's going on here.
It's called K-level reasoning. And you can just think of that K as the number of levels or steps of thinking you're willing to do. It's a way of measuring how deep you're thinking about what other people are going to do. Let's see how this works. A level 0 thinker, or K0, doesn't really strategize. They just pick a random number. So let's say the average is 50. Now, a level 1 thinker is a bit smarter. They assume everyone else is at level 0. So they guess 2/3 of 50, which is around 33. A level 2 thinker takes it one step further. They assume everyone else is thinking at level 1, so they guess 2/3 of 33, which puts them at 22. And a level 3 thinker, they guess 2/3 of 22, landing them around 14. Now wait a second, do those numbers 22 and 14 sound familiar? They're exactly the winning numbers we saw in the real world.
And that's the whole secret right there. Most people aren't just guessing randomly, but we don't follow that chain of logic all the way down to the bottom either. It seems most of us naturally stop after 1 or 2 levels of this kind of thinking. To actually get to 0, you'd have to go through about 12 full levels of reasoning, and you'd have to assume everyone else is doing it with you.
This quote really just hits the nail on the head. The game isn't about finding the smartest possible answer in a vacuum. It's about making an accurate guess about the average level of thinking in the group, and then trying to be just one step ahead of that.
And please don't mistake this for just a fun brain teaser. This exact kind of thinking is absolutely critical in huge, high-stakes situations. Stock traders aren't just valuing a company, they're valuing it based on what they think other investors are going to pay. A penalty kick in the World Cup? That's a lightning-fast game of guessing your opponent's level of thinking.
This stuff is absolutely everywhere. So let's bring it all back home. We've gone from a simple question all the way into the deep end of strategic thinking and human psychology.
But here's the final, wonderful little twist. You are now armed with this knowledge. You understand K-level reasoning. But what if everyone else watching this explainer now understands it too? That shared knowledge, that awareness of the game, it could change the average all over again.
So we end right where we began, but with a whole new perspective. You know the pure logic that leads to 0. You know the human psychology that leads to real winning numbers, like 14 or 22. And you know that just knowing this stuff might change the outcome entirely. So, with all that in your head, what number would you guess now?